Hey guys, I just wanted to reach out to you and let you know that Surewinder is still selling amazing products. Some of you guys have been dragging your feet for whatever reason. If your shoulder hurts, do not waste time. Pull the trigger. I just bought 4 or 5 of them, and we had 2 guys out. You know how much it cost me to pay for 2 guys being out with bad shoulders? We just pulled the trigger and we said, listen, everybody's going to have one on a truck. It's mandatory. You got to use it. Don't hesitate. Don't wait till your guys go down. It's going to cost you more. Buy a Surewinder.
What's up, guys? Ryan, Torsion Talk podcast. What even was that? I was trying to do my intro and I said podcast. Whatever. I don't even know what's going on. Obviously, my lips and my mouth don't want to do what my brain's telling it to. I guess it's part of getting old. Speaking of getting old, I wrote down some announcements so I didn't forget them. Goodness gracious. 46 looks good on me, I must say. All right, first announcement. We're close to closing out registration for our intensive October 1st through 3rd in Florida. If you guys haven't heard me speak about this, this is an intensive that is probably one of the best investments that you could ever make in your business. I'm bringing in Joseph Roberts. He's going to evaluate your financials. We're going to have 1 to a few and then one-on-one with him. That's going to be the first day. Joseph Roberts is a fractional CFO who works specifically with garage door companies in the United States. This is kind of like a one-in-a-lifetime opportunity because you're going to have 3 days in a luxury Airbnb with a pool on the intercoastal. It's absolutely gorgeous near the airport in Fort Lauderdale, about 30 minutes north, I think it is. Guys, it's going to be a little bit of fun and a whole lot of work. But I promise you, when you get out of this, you're going to have a masterful plan for 2026. And there's no better feeling than going into the year with a plan that you know you can execute on. We're going to talk a little bit about some of that today in today's podcast. But I'm telling you guys, this is going to be great. So day number 1's with Joseph Roberts. Day number 2 and 3 are with me. I'm going to work with you on marketing and setting up your goals for sales to achieve your financial goals and a little bit of operations. But we're going to spend days together helping each other achieve our plan so we roll into 2026 knowing exactly what we have to do. Now, Josh and I at Aaron Overhead Doors, we have our first planning session scheduled next week. It's August. Some of this stuff, we've got to put things in play. If that means hiring certain people, we need to be putting things in place now so we can be prepared. So October is kind of like the latest that I wanted to have this because I needed to give you guys some time to be able to put things in place because the plan's going to start January 1. You can't start planning in December. You won't have time to turn everything around. You have to start doing this in October. So we've set it all up for you. We've gotten you away from work where you can focus on this. And when you want downtime, you can go out and swim or you can fish in the intercoastal, whatever. Don't care. We're going to have a good time. I've got the place for a full week. If you want to come in early, we might be able to set something up for that. Just hit me up and let me know. So it's 3 days. You can register for that or learn more about it either by hitting me up on Facebook or go to garagedoorU.com/intensive. Now, hear me out. There's a bunch of information on there, but if you want specifics, you can hit me up directly on Facebook and I'll make sure we can set some time aside, whatever. It's an investment. It's an investment. There is a dollar amount to it. It's $10,000, but it covers your room. It covers breakfast and lunch, covers Joseph Roberts' time of evaluating your financials before and during the event and his time, my planning. And then we have some follow-up accountability meetings that we'll schedule with you as well. So lots of good things there to make sure that you're staying on plan. Next thing, I wanted to go through a couple of things that I'm working on at Aaron Overhead Doors just because I've had a lot of people asking me things about Aaron Overhead Doors. So the first thing I'm working on, we launched AI phones a while back. And it hasn't been like perfectly smooth at all, but we're learning, and we're learning a lot. So I'm working on some of that stuff. We're setting up automations and workflows in our business to try to automate as much as humanly possible. Part of that focus was leaving ServiceTitan, as I've spoken about before, and go into a platform called FieldPulse. Now, FieldPulse has a in and out uh, open API. So I can send things into FieldPulse and I can pull things out, which is really nice. ServiceTitan doesn't really allow us that type of flexibility, and it's very restricted. And so I felt like going to a platform where we have developers, we can kind of build our own workflows in and out would be really good. And we're having to go from like 3 or 4 platforms just to fulfill all of our needs down to 2, which is really nice. So I'm going from spending 5 grand a month, almost, I think close to around there on ServiceTitan, and still not having all of our needs met. And then we have like Monday for project management, sales pipelines. We have different, a couple different phone systems for fail safes and stuff like that. And then we also have another platform we use for automations, but we can't really set all of them up because of some of the issues that we have with ServiceTitan. So, long story short, we're leaving, and I'm working on a lot of automation workflow stuff and setting up this new um, platform. Now, no one has a better UI than ServiceTitan, and so I'm feeling the repercussions of that a little bit while I'm working through FieldPulse. They definitely have a very clunky software, and I'm okay with that. Like I've learned that there's no perfect thing, but if I can save $4,000 a month out of a $5,000 bill, and we still can accomplish the same things, and even if I've got to work some of that stuff outside, I'm cool with that. The other thing I'm working on, because we're having massive success, is Facebook and Instagram ads. These things are blowing up and they're doing really well. I mean, I've not had this much success with Facebook ads, but I've really invested a lot of time in setting them up and them being very strategic and like focused in particular areas with particular messages. And we're just seeing a lot of success with it. So very happy about that. I split out our brands from Aaron Overhead Doors to Aaron Dock and Doors. So you can see the hat I've got on now if you're watching on YouTube. And then we also have, if it'll let me, Aaron Dock and Door, which is really nice. And so now we're going to have 2 different brands. And we also have Phantom Screens. So we have 3 brands technically. So that's been good. We feel like that's been very good. We built a new website and we moved all our commercial stuff over there. And we've talked about this before, but I'm starting to see massive gains on our commercial side because of that. It doesn't look like we're a residential company doing commercial stuff anymore. And our messaging just it's super clear because we know who we are in residential. So we can deliver that message very neatly, very, very precisely. And then on commercial, same thing. And so I wanted people when they went to the website to see just the content designed for them. It's 2 totally different customers, yet we have the same website. And I like breaking them apart. We've had so far had massive success with this. I also was able to set up a Google AdWords account without advanced verification for my dock and door business because there's no garage door repair related information on there. And so it's beautiful. Like, love that. Really happy about it. Anyway, moving on. So, as mentioned on one of my last podcasts, I do believe I've bought into the whole like selling doors on service. That was one of the topics on a previous podcast. And I think we're about to move into more of doing that. And then the last thing I'm focusing on right now is growing GDU. So this is by far one of the best groups I've ever been a part of. And I've since I discovered masterminds, at first I had this like perception of what a mastermind was, and I kind of misjudged a little bit. But I love meeting new people and collaborating. And I'm part of 2 other masterminds, that one with the marketing agencies, and then we're part of another one that's like AI automation and developers. And so like there's no better way to get engulfed in something that you want to get better at then join a group of people who are like ahead of you and in it with you and have different perspectives. It's very easy for us to look at, like a big company, right? And look at the leader and have him stand up on stage and talk about all these great things that he's doing. And some of that stuff is great, but unrelatable in a lot of ways, right? Like, I mean, if you're running a $20 million company and you're talking to us all from a stage, then how relatable is that? But if you're in a group where you get to know people and you guys are, what's interesting is you can have 5 people in the same revenue range, but all different backgrounds and be able to find solutions and work through things together. There's also different levels, right? So we have access to people with $20 million in annual revenue, and they don't have it all figured out. And that's okay because you never will. Like one of the conversations I just had earlier was, listen, I've never run a garage door company at this size before. This is the first time, right? Like I've never done it. Now, I've run a sales department for a super fast growing software company, and uh, that was a wild ride. I've run a marketing agency, and I feel like a marketing agency is like a million times simpler, which I've mentioned to you guys before, just because of it's easy to create systems, but you can't be so locked into your system with an agency that you can't be flexible. Because one of the parts about doing something over and over again is because like it's almost a negative because as a garage door company, you kind of like it unless you do custom stuff. With a marketing agency, if you do the same thing over and over again, you become robotic and nothing's excellent. And so you got to be careful of that. And that's one thing that we have to protect from. But that's not what the episode's about. And so we're going to dive right into the episode and chat. But I did already drop some bombs on you guys, but definitely check out Garage Door U. Listen, we do weekly meetings. We have quarterly events where we get together. And it's genuinely one of the best things I've ever done for my garage door company. I know I founded it. I know I started it. I know I don't do a ton of teaching in it. When I learn things, I share them just like everybody else. Just like everybody else. It's a best practices uh, group, and we're all growing. It's just a bunch of hungry business owners that want to get better and grow. So if you're interested, hit me up or go to garagedoorU.com and check it out. All right. The episode, what is today about? I got to tell you, this is probably, you're going to shut me off. If you haven't already, you're going to shut me off. This is like a pastor talking about tithing, right? Um, Revenue looks sexy, but profit pays the bills and builds freedom. I'm going to say that one more time. Revenue looks sexy, but profit pays the bills and builds freedom. The most, and like the answer I get the most when I ask people why they started their business was freedom. And freedom looks very different for a lot of different people. Hey guys, I found something that changed my business and I want to share it with you. We've created packages that have included some of the best products in our industry to offer our service customers. The heart of that package is Stealth Hardware Kit. Stealth Hardware is the quietest hinges on the market. I challenge you to buy at least one of these, test it for yourself. Put it on your truck and design a quiet performance package for your customers willing to pay for a better, smoother running door. Buy your Stealth Hardware Kit at Service Spring, do a search for quiet hinge, and then buy that. You can buy a double or single door, 7 or 8 foot tall, and promise you, it'll change your service forever.
Somer USA and Somer Group want to thank you for an incredible year and the trust you put in them and their products. As you know, Somer places high value on relationships, education, customer service, innovation, and professionalism. And they are grateful to you for your part in the fostering and dissemination of these values. If there is any way Somer can support you in your journey, whether through their products, the values they hold to, or the knowledge Somer has gained through interaction with door dealers across the world, please reach out to the team at your convenience. They are here to serve you. Again, thank you from the entire Somer team. Check them out at somerusa.com. Tell them Ryan sent you.
But when you meet people, they always want to say, how many trucks you got? How much revenue you driving? And I feel like we've created this thing where that's how we want to be measured, or that's how we want to measure. When in reality, neither of those things matter at all. As a matter of fact, I'd even argue the fact that if you have less trucks, less revenue than a $5 million company, but you have more net profit, you have less headaches, a better life, and more money. I probably frustrated some people and they dropped off right there. So if you're still with me, let's keep going. Now, when I first started Aaron Overhead Doors, I certainly was chasing top line revenue. And I was trying to grow it like a software company. And these are two very different models. And probably one of the biggest challenges and the biggest mistakes I made was I didn't realize how difficult it would be to find reliable people. And now for you business owners out there, you're shaking your head. You're like, yep. Now I can grow a company as fast as I want to. I mean, I was the driver of revenue for a company that was under $1 million, and we went to 25 million in like 6 years in annual revenue, recurring. It was great. It was a wild ride. We had a blast. I came in, started my door company, boom, first year, $700,000. I didn't even know what I was doing. I had 1 week of training. I had no clue what I was doing. Never been in the trades in my life. 700,000 first year. So I'm telling you, I can sell revenue as fast as humanly possible. The problem was I was going back into the field to do some of the work. And what was happening was I was selling, and then sales crashed because I wasn't in front of someone selling. I was selling, installing, selling, installing. And it became very obvious very quickly. The books looked amazing in, the 2 months where I'm just crushing sales. And then when I have to be in the field, cash flow's like really rough. And I think what we figure out eventually is we got to get out of the way and we got to let people do the sales for us or do the installs for us, whatever your strength is. For me, it was let someone else do the installs because I didn't want to be in the garage for 4 hours. I could sell. I didn't know anybody else that could sell as well as I could. So I wanted to be out selling. So let's talk about mindset real quick. I think that we have to stop looking at the top line revenue and really focus on our net profit. In a startup environment, it's revenue and revenue alone, really. I mean, you just don't spend and you bring in as much as humanly possible. That's the name of the game. You squeeze and squeeze and squeeze, and you only spend when you absolutely have to. But when you get to a point where you stabilize and you have business coming in, you have to invest that money somewhere. And ideally, in the beginning, I tell this to almost every startup business. In the beginning, a lot of people have time but no money. The business has no money. And you don't want to invest all your money, but you've got a lot of time because you don't have jobs. So what do you think would be wise to do? Not spend money and go out and make it happen. Knock on doors, go to networking meetings. And I think AdWords is probably the worst place to be. I would be doing Facebook ads right now because my conversion and my cost of lead and my cost of acquisition for a new customer is like a fraction of the price of AdWords. So you need cheap marketing that works, and that works. And then you need to grind. You need to grind and grind and grind. Now, if you're an already established business, let's say you're doing $3 million a year or 5 million, whatever it is you're doing, how are you making decisions? This is one of the most frustrating things for me over the past few years is that I think we got our finances set up wrong in the beginning. And then I didn't have super clear focus on where to look for things. I mean, I got used to like all these workarounds through my books, but truly, what's my profit? And Mike McCallowicks would be so mad at me because I've had so many conversations with him. I've hired him to speak at multiple events. This is the profit first guy, right? And he'll tell you straight up, like you shouldn't be looking at your books to figure out where your net profit is at the end of the month. You should be moving net profit into an account at the top, first dollar in. He says we have it backwards. Now, how that is super complicated. But I'm going to tell you, I can't tell you how many companies where their net profit is in the mid single digits in the garage door industry. And I've hung out there most of the time that I've been in this thing. Some of that due to decisions I made previously before I got wise. And I don't know it all. I'm learning with you guys, right? I do a podcast because I want to bring things to your attention that I'm learning or lessons that I've learned from other people or things I've learned in books. But I think we see money in the bank and then we believe that we can go spend it, or we set revenue goals at the beginning of the year, but not net profit goals. If you're at 3 million this year, and let's say 2026, you have a plan to do 4 million. I'm going to say, well, where'd you come up with 4 million? How'd you come up with it? Where did that number even come from? Why 4? Is it because it's round? You went from 3 to 4? Is that it? And every year you get bigger, it's harder to grow. It's harder to grow at those same percentages. I'm not saying you can't do it. I'm just saying it's harder. It's harder because it takes more money, more effort, more people. The advertising budget at, 10 million is significant. It's big. We got to start at 0 at the beginning of every single month. How do we protect our net profit? We run lean. We automate, which is what I'm diving into right now. I'm super excited. We're paying off trucks right now. I think we're paying off like 3 or 4 trucks this year. And they're still all in good shape. Really, really excited about that. Because we bought them all new. I want to make sure that you understand how tight 5% of $3 million is. It's not enough. 10 should probably be the floor. 15 to 20 should be the goal. But I'm going to tell you, that I've never seen a company with 20% net profit that doesn't either have massive automation in their business and they just run lean as fire. Like I'm talking every penny is accounted for. They know exactly what's happening. They have veterans, everybody's working hard, everybody clicks, smooth rolling. If they're not like that, they're suffering because they're short somewhere. There's multiple employees doing multiple jobs, grinding it out, living the hard life. Because we're compensating the the staff for the net profit. And what I would like to say is there is a point where you probably need to have your staff, like I believe our staff should be at 90% capacity, maybe 95. That's with them doing their daily job and working on any projects they've got going. Are we there? Are we not there? Are we paying attention to these things? Net profit should drive our decisions to everything. You have to stop looking at your top line revenue numbers. I think we talked about before, I think it's a really good idea to try to really push for 42% or higher gross profit margins because that'll leak down. And then if you stay lean in the office or you have automation, then I think you can achieve excellent net profit numbers. And it's better to do when you're smaller and set it up, although you probably don't have a ton of cash to do it with. But it's easier to do it when you're smaller than when you're bigger and you have all these moving pieces. So I'm just going to, the reason why I think you're still listening to this podcast is because you understand how important it is to get to, 15% net profit and how that impacts your life. The question to you is, if you're doing $6 million, would you trade $1 million in revenue for an extra 5% net profit on top of what you're doing now? Let me rephrase that because I'm not sure that I'm saying it right. If you're at $6 million and you're at 5% net, which is what, 300,000? If you could go to 5 million, but do 10% net, that's 500,000. And I'll remind you of a conversation that I believe I spoke about on the last podcast where I talked to the owner of the home service company, where he said that 5 to 6-ish million range was the sweet spot for him. And that sometimes he wished he just stayed there because at that time he was making huge net profit numbers and life was so much more simple. Now he does more revenue, but less profit. Something to think about, right? But our ego tells us that we got to keep growing. We got to push the boundaries. We got to try these things. I'm all for innovation. I am all for growth. 100%. Like, I don't know that I could not grow my companies. It's just not in me to grow a company just stagnant. But I'm trying to get the mindset to you that you don't want to grow in vain. We need to grow with purpose. And that purpose needs to be designed, focused, planned. It needs to be about your net profit and the freedom and the reason you started the business in the first place. I'll leave you with that. I hope today was great. Have a blessed day. Say that you love somebody. Tell them that you love them. That's what I meant to say. Tell the people you love that you love them. Peace out.